Good afternoon, guys. Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay. So still only 73 participants are there. So in the morning session, there were nearly 100 participants. So I will take some time, maybe another 2 or 3 minutes until others are joining. If not, within another 5 minutes, we will start the session. Okay, guys, when you are joining to the meeting, it's better to you use your name as when you register, you use a name, no? So you better to use the same name because we are marking the attendance. So we have to keep you in the waiting room for the long time because of this reason. So I know that this message is not going to hear by the people are in the waiting room, but next time when you are joining, please make sure that you have to use the name that you have used for registration. Otherwise, it will be difficult for us to track you because you know that the end of the for the day we are going to consider you for a certification. Because when you are adding the names for the certificate, it will become somewhat difficult for us to track you guys if you are using some other names. So always better, please remember to do that. Otherwise, we have to keep you in waiting rooms and send messages continuously about this. Okay, then we start the session. I think the people who are in the waiting room will be added by the Tuan after they have renamed to the correct name. Okay, now our session is about the lab tools and how we are going to configure the lab for the tomorrow sessions and the whatever the session that remaining. So actually we have done a workshop for the network tune-up network, the last workshop. So all the instructions are there, but we have configured a network for you because I know that there are new participants are there. So before we go for the lab setup, I will going to give you a kind of a description and presentation about what we are going to do, or the overall idea of this workshop. So mainly, you know that we are going to talk about network measurement and uh, even documentation part is there. So I will share my screen and uh, Okay. So this network measurement PDF you can download from the agenda. When you go to the second session of the link of the today, you will see this presentation is there. So you can download this one and then can refer. So here what I have included here is why we need network measurement and why we need network measurement as well. So I know that there may be beginners and there may be people who are having kind of experience in this workshop. So mostly this is more important for the beginners or the novice. So you can refer this PDF. So I will scan through this one and I will describe briefly what we are going to cover and what is network measurement includes. So mainly what do you mean by network measurement is in this first slide. So network, why we need network measurement actually. So network measurement always goes with the network performance. Okay, you always know that when you are working with the network, many concerns are there. So one of the main concern is actually the speed and the packets dropping, and when you're accessing a resource, you will experience some slowness. So in that case, you need to find what are the problems that existing on the network as network engineers. So when it comes to network measurement, the most important thing is the performance, okay, or the quality of the service that in the network. So that's what here in the slide it's explained. Uh, so it just not a one thing. Okay, so when it comes to network measurement, we can't say that okay, this is the way, this is where we have to measure that one. Not like that. So it involves a lot of tools, a lot of softwares, maybe depending on the network configuration, physical setup, and a lot of things are going to involve with this network performance. So that is what it says. Okay, so you have to gathering information is very important. Then only you can go for a kind of a solution. Okay, so so this is also the same thing. Same thing means uh, why we need to measure the performance. Okay, so even though you are working in the LAN environment, depending on the size of a network, depending on the number of users that you are having, the demands of the network are increasing day by day. The applications, softwares, and the data that you are, even that now we are using video conferencing and those kind of things. So depending on the resources that you are using in your network, uh, the things that you need to tune up is different. Okay, so end of the day, we need to satisfy the user expectation. Otherwise, it will affect to the performance of the organization. Um, so when delivering the services and application to users, that's what it says. Bandwidth issues, network downtime, and bottlenecks can be quickly escalated into IT crisis mode. So this is one of the problem. So if you are experiencing this kind of a problem in a network, eventually it will become a crisis mode. So what you have to do is you have to give some proactive solution and detect them, and you have to make sure that end of the day your network users are satisfied with your network performance. So mainly there are a lot of parameters are there actually, but when we in this presentation, I have included few of them. Few of them means most important factors. Okay, so that is comes under network performance measurement parameters. So if you Google or if you refer internet, you will find other factors as well. But we will look at what are the main things that we have to consider when we talk about network measurement. So one thing is latency. Okay, I think most of you have familiar with this word. And with regards to network performance measurement, latency is simply the amount of time it takes for data to travel from one defined location to another. Okay, I think that is not something that you can't understand. So so this is also referred as delay. So we with the with the proper network design, we have to try to uh, reduce this one. Okay, to if you can bring it to the level of 0, that is better. uh, but depending on the uh, technologies that you are using, uh, this can affect, okay, even physical cabling, or if you are using wireless networks. So uh, the the design is more important here. Okay, so the one of the parameters is latency, and the other one is packet loss. Okay, so packet loss can be happen due to, again, there are some physical problems in your network or bottlenecks. Okay, network congestion, router performance, software issues, and actually these things are interconnected, because we can't say that because of the latency there can be packet loss, because of the packet loss there may be latency. So they are interconnected problems, but it's always better to identify where the issue is. Okay. um, the next one is now the two terms, throughput and the bandwidth. Okay, so these are uh, some words that you have already heard. Okay, for network performance measurement, throughput is defined in terms of the amount of data or number of data packets that can be delivered in a predefined time frame. I believe that you can, by, because I have simplified all the terms here. So by reading also you can understand what this means. Okay, so there is a difference between throughput and the bandwidth. Now there is a to make it easy, there is example is given. Now as example, bandwidth usually measured in bits per second in a characterization of amount of data can be transferred over in a given time period. Bandwidth is therefore measure of capacity rather than speed. Okay, so example, bus can capable of carrying 100 passengers, but actually transport 85. That's what we call throughput. So that is some of the one of the example that you can use to understand the difference between the throughput and bandwidth. Okay, the other one is jitter. Okay, so jitter, most of the time, if you are working with IP phones, or let's say video conferencing, or mostly with audio and video, this can become an issue. Okay, so variation of time delay between the packets. So this is one of the main parameter that you have to check if you are using audio and video through your network. So this variable represent identify disruption of normal sequencing of data packets, because sometimes normally between two packets, if there is a 50 between two packets, there is a 50 milliseconds, that's okay. But if you go more than 50 millisecond gap, normally we identify it as a jitter. So by reading this one also you can understand that the uneven latencies between the data packets will cause this problem. As I already told you, all these things are interconnected. Okay, I believe you can read through this and you can understand what this means. So factors affecting network performance. So those are the parameters that we have to check on, but these are the affecting factors. Okay, why these things kind of things are happening. Okay, so one of thing is the infrastructure. As I told you, this can include a lot of things. We can't say these are the things that goes with infrastructure. Overall network design, overall softwares, overall application that you are using, the cabling, fiber, everything. Okay, so everything will need to be considered here. Maybe over capacity. So you know that maybe you have uh, uh, hundreds of users, but your infrastructure is not sufficient to support all of these user requests, can be a problem. And maybe the bottlenecks, mainly routers and switches, cables. Okay, and even security that you have implemented in your network. Okay, so a lot of things are there, even protocols that you are using. maybe server capacities, RAM, hard disk capacities. Okay, so you can think of anything. So that comes under infrastructure. So it's always better to keep on touch with your network infrastructure. If your network users are gradually increasing, you need to know that depending on the demand, you have to increase the network bandwidth. Maybe you have to change your entire cabling. Maybe you have to replace your switches, maybe routers with the newer one. Okay, maybe you have to go with fiber cabling. So those kind of things also comes under infrastructure. So this is the main thing. The underlying infrastructure is very important when it comes to the network performance. Then network issues. Okay, I have already discussed that under the infrastructure also. Yeah, so as I explained, the backbone, maybe you have uplink and downlink from routers to and switches, between switches. Maybe you have a data center and maybe you are using link aggregation or the channels. Okay, so you have to consider about them. Maybe core layer, maybe distribution layer. Okay, so you have to configure them with the proper configurations. Okay, and redundancy. You have to make sure that you have redundancy in place, and your routing should be working without any loops. You know that in layer 2 also there are loops, layer 3 loops can be there. And high availability need to be maintained to reduce the bottlenecks of your network. So network issues are one of the main things. Okay, so you have to have a better idea how to do the network tuning. So last workshop we have discussed with that one as well. Not only this one, as I told you, routing protocols and those kind of things you have to consider, and you have to make sure they are working with their the best performance. Okay, selecting protocols and those kind of things. And the application. So this is where most of the people are actually interacting with. So you have to make sure that the application that you are using in the network is approved softwares. Okay, just using software from here and there without having a proper certified softwares you have to use. And when you are using drivers, and you have to make sure that all these drivers are digitally signed by the approved organizations. And even when you are using other softwares, it's always better to select not the popular but the quality wise. You can go through the documentations, and you can get idea how they are actually works. And always better to use with the software that with the security implemented. Okay, so those kind of things you have to consider when you are using applications, because if your users are interacting application through the network, maybe servers, then if those applications are not giving a higher throughput, then net performance also can be affected from those applications. The other thing is security issues. Maybe your network is attacked by someone, or someone is using your network as a botnet to attack to others. Okay, so those kind of things also can be a problem without your knowledge. Some people maybe use your network to attack to others. Maybe they are planting something on your network, and maybe malwares or trojans, those kind of things can be run on your machines. So always, even though they are not directly attacking you, they maybe you have a zombie. Okay, so that kind of things can happen. So it's always better to harden your network with the security measures, because you know that cybersecurity has become a huge problem nowadays. So because some people are even this can be happen due to the your employees, those who are working in your organization, they also may be uh, uh, testing some application in your network. Maybe sometimes ethical hacking part, maybe they are doing, they are maybe try to learn something from your network, and they are without their knowledge they may be attacking to your network itself. So it's always better to keep an eye on that one. And uh, uh, do the whatever the needed things security wise. Okay, this comes under actually patching your network. If you use a Windows user, you know that Windows updates, you have to do the regular update of your softwares, and you have to make sure that all the application that you are running on your network is up to date. And if you're using any virus guards or any other centralized mitigation techniques, always make sure that everything is up to date. uh, so those kind of things, patching, updating also need. And not only that, if you are using sensitive data, it's always better to go with encryption. Okay, and authentication, those kind of things need to be integrated. So then even though we can't say that 100% we can secure our network, but all the basics, if you do the basics correctly, right, I think it will become it will block a lot of problems that comes through the security. um, so here with this one, even though there are a lot of softwares out there, because our, if you go with the network performance measurement tools, a lot of tools out there, but not all of them are open source, so you have to purchase them. As example, now one of the SolarWinds, that they are having a lot of network performance and measurement tools, but they are not free. So as Learn, we are always trying to give you a solution that comes under open source. In this workshop, we actually not covering a lot of tools. Okay. um, so when it comes to network monitoring or the performance tools, there are two types, passive and active. Here, passive means actually normally without adding any burden to a network, we are testing the measuring the network. So it means that there may be some software that we have already used, and using them we are collecting information and we are analyzing them, and we do the testing. Okay, we can get some kind of metrics using the existing softwares without adding any burden to a network, without sending a lot of packets and testing, because it will affect the network performance again. Now, as example, now let's say that in a peak time, I need to do a kind of a network testing. So if I overload with the whatever the tools that I'm using, it can interfere the user data. Okay, so that is not a passive testing. Passive testing means there may be some software that we have already implemented, then they are regularly capturing something, and they are giving that metrics. We are getting a kind of a idea how the network will perform. But active network performance is, that it will generate some data, and we have to use uh, predefined or the some testing methods. Uh, so it will uh, add some burden to the network. So that's why I said this testing requires adaptive level of data traffic by nature. So it must be scheduled appropriately to minimize the impact on the existing network traffic. So if you are going to do the active measurement, sometimes you have to do this one, but it's always better to have a better control on this one, because it will be add more traffic to the network. Okay, so that is the two main categories of testing, passive and active. So going through this one, I think uh, by reading this one also you can understand the difference between these two. So always Google is the best space to search about these kind of things. As I told you, here we are only covering open source softwares. So in this workshop we are going to cover SmokePing and Persona, because they are the one of the or the two of the best performance measurement tools that comes under open source license. So you don't want to buy them, you can simply download and install and you can work with them. But as I told you, if you can, there are a lot of other softwares as well, but they are not free. But maybe there may be more features than this, but depending on the cost, you have to think about them, whether you are going to implement them on your network or not. So with this workshop, we are going to cover only these two, smoke ping and persona. So smoke ping part will be done tomorrow, and the persona part will be from the this will start tomorrow evening by the Mr. Lalanta. So smoke ping part will be done by me, and to get or to start with the tomorrow session, we need to go with the lab setup. If your lab setup is not working correctly, doing the other practicals will become a problem. Okay, mainly persona and smoke ping and the oxidized and netbox. So all those sessions are depending on the network that you have to implement. Okay, so that is why we have schedule a session for the lab setup, because the remaining sessions will be depending on your lab setup. Otherwise, you can't collect information from your network, because if you are going to do this with your active or the your real network, it will become some kind of a problem as a beginner. So that is why we virtualize the environment first. Then if you are after familiarize with these softwares, then even you can implement them in your real network, and you can check them, because they are not going to add any burden to your network. So first of all, we will go through the virtual setup, and after you get familiar with how this smoke ping, persona, or oxidize, and all the other softwares are working, I think you can implement them in your network, and you can get the benefit of those things. Okay, so that's about the introduction to the our remaining schedules or the remaining sessions. Okay, so here, as I told you, the main part is creating your network. Okay, so within these 2 hours, I need you to with our help, because if we keep this only for the overnight, then it will become somewhat difficult. So some people may be not going to do that one. That's why we have dedicated 2 hours of time to make sure that everyone are okay with this network setup. Okay, so mainly, first of all, I will explain what you have to do. So when you go to this our agenda page, you will see lab setup link is there. Okay, in the beginning of the lab setup, I have given introduction to you that this workshop is going to be connected with our last workshop. Okay, but I know that according to the attendees or the participant, we got idea that there may be a lot of new people here. So if they are going to go with the previous one, and if they are going to try this out, it will take some time. So by considering that part, what we have done is all the working setup. Okay, so you don't want to configure anything. Those who have participated for the last workshop, we have done a lot of work to make it work. You have to do the Cisco configuration and virtualization, a lot of things we have done, then only it work. Okay, but this time we make it more simpler. So actually you don't want to do any configuration. All the configuration for the routers, switches, everything already done. So what you have to do is you have to download them, and you have to correctly implement or organize them in the according to our instructions here. So if you do it according to our instructions without any issue, even for the newcomers, this will start to work. Okay, so if you have any problem with the last workshop setup, don't worry, you can start with the fresh installation. But make sure that you have installed the VirtualBox and its extension pack, because last time we saw that even though you have installed the VirtualBox, some people forgot to add the extension pack, so that will become a problem. So then there may be some side effects and there may be some errors. Even we also need to check again and again, because you haven't done what you have asked you to do. So always better to download and install the VirtualBox first. Okay, so this is how this is going to happen, because I'm not just going to explain and wait. I need you to do this. Okay, because everything is depending on the setup. So those who haven't installed, I will go step by step. So those who haven't installed the VirtualBox, you have to do it now. Okay, if you already done, if you have already got the VirtualBox, please make sure that extension pack is there. Okay, so as example, I will show you when you download. I believe you know how to download the uh, software, because I have given the link. Okay, so after you download VirtualBox will be here, and the extension pack. Okay, extension pack also you have to download. Okay, so if you go to the link here, okay, here you can I'm going to show you the extension pack. Okay, here you can see extension pack you have to download. Okay, so you can download VirtualBox from this link. Okay, always go with the 6 or the newest part, newest edition, and you have to download this extension pack. So after you download both of the softwares, you will see like this, uh, VirtualBox extension pack and VirtualBox 6.134. I believe most of you have already got the VirtualBox software, but maybe you don't have the extension pack. Okay, so okay. So hope that you already got the VirtualBox with you. Okay, if you don't have, please download it, and I will show you how to add the extension pack if you haven't done it yet. Okay, so after install the VirtualBox, you can go to tools. Okay, and sorry, here once you go to the preferences. Okay, when you have to click on the tools and the preferences, the extension pack you can add here. You can go to the add button and you can add the extension pack. So make sure that you have done that part. Okay, so you can do this while I am speaking. Okay, if you haven't done it yet, you can do it. Okay, then you know the putty also, maybe already you have installed this one. This putty is needed to log into the routers. Okay, in case that you need to connect to our routers which are running on our network, you need to have the putty installed in your PC. I believe almost most of you have already having the putty edition. Okay, because it's not a new thing for people who are involving with the network stuff. Okay, so you can install that one also in your host computer in case that you need to connect to our virtual routers. But for the moment, actually, it's not necessarily join to the or the connect to the routers, but it's better to download and install, because whenever you want, you can do the amendments. If something like that, if you need your own testing, if you want to test something that you own, you can use PuTTY and connect to our network and do the changes using the PuTTY. Okay. Then the most important thing is here the WK files. Okay, so you have to download this WK file. This is a zip folder or the this compressed folder, but I believe all of you have WinZip or WinRAR software with you, so you can uncompress this file. So when you uncompressing this one, I have given you the instructions. Okay, so you better extract these WK files folder to the C drive, because you can extract it to anywhere you want, but because we need to have in a common platform, I have given you the instruction to download from the C drive. Okay, it doesn't matter that you are using a D drive or something, but then there may be some issues when you are working with that one, because different people will get different errors, so troubleshooting will become difficult for us. So if you all can extract this to the C drive, it will become very easy for us, and when you're asking any questions, we can easily assist you with this one. Okay, so once you download this WK files, it will download into a download folder. Okay, like this WK files. Okay, then you can extract it to the C drive, or you can extract to somewhere and you can copy. It's up to you, but end of the day, this WK files should be in your C drive like this. Okay, you can see WK files are in the C drive. Okay, because this network needs some parameters to work. So all these parameters we have done using the C drive. Okay, you know, that's assume that some environment variables or some path. So we have created the path by adding the C drive. Okay, so as example, now when you open this folder, you can see some files are there. Here, most important files, all the files actually important, but remember you have to install this Dynagen. Okay, after you extract these files in the C drive, first you have to install the Dynagen software. Okay, after you install this Dynagen software, these instructions are in our, or the screenshots, if you want to view those screenshots, though all those things are here. If you go to this our previous those who haven't participated for the previous one, after you access our previous link, okay, you can see all these screenshots as well, because I didn't duplicate them here, because it's unnecessary, because you know, by just one click is here, you can go and you can view the setup if you want to see the screenshots. Okay, because a lot of people are now using this website, it will somewhat yeah. Okay, so here now you can see all those instructions are given, you can see. Okay, and lab setup. Okay, so after install the Dynagen, the software, after you execute this one, you will find new shortcuts. If you already having this shortcut, it means you have participated for the last workshop and you have some kind of idea how it works. But if you are new to this one, when you install this Dynagen setup, you will see new 4 shortcuts like this. If I show you in my computer, now here you can see this one and this one, and this. So these 4 shortcuts will come to your desktop automatically. Okay, I'm believing that you are working with me. Okay, so I will give you some time when I speak. I'm doing this very slowly, because it's better you can do this with me. So this is not a big task, just installing some software, downloading a file, extract it to a folder, and running that software. So that's all. That is not a big deal, I believe. Okay, so run this one, Dynagen. This will install these 4 shortcuts to your network desktop. Remember, you have to use Windows machine for this one, because we had already instruct you in our uh, first page. You have to have Windows. Okay, Windows 8, Windows 10, even Windows 11 also okay, no problem, because I have practice. So I have tested this one in the Windows 11 as well, so it will work even in Windows 11. Okay, not a problem. So install this Dynagen software, and make sure these 4 shortcuts in your desktop. Okay. Then you have to install WinPCAP. Okay. After installing the Dynagen, don't run anything. Just install it. Make sure that 4 shortcuts are visible in your desktop. If it is there, no problem. Just keep it as it. Then again, come to the folder and run the WinPCAP software. It doesn't create any shortcuts. Don't worry. The WinPCAP will not create any shortcuts in your desktop. Okay. Just follow through the setup. Just next. That's all. Okay. Remember, without having these softwares, even the oxidized lab will not going to work. Okay. Otherwise, you will face difficulties on even on Friday. Okay, when you're doing the oxidized lab, you will not going to get the proper output. Tomorrow also same thing. Even though this is not directly involved with the other sessions, it's other sessions also these need this one, but mainly for the smoke ping and the oxidized sessions, this is more important, because if this network is not correctly working, you will not get any results. Okay, because end of the workshops you need to submit some screenshots or scripts that you have done in the workshop to make sure that you have done them. Okay, so before you qualify for the certificate, our staff is going to check whether you have done these practicals or not. So if you can't set up the basic configuration of this lab, you won't be able to work with even smoke ping or oxidize. So you can't give any feedback to us. You can't send any screenshots from them, because totally those 2 sessions are depending on this lab setup. Okay, so I hope now it's okay. You have installed Dynagen and WinPCAP as well. Hoping that you are continuing or you are doing the work with me. I'm going to do this. Okay, so assuming that you have installed Dynagen and WinPCAP, then let's see what we have to do. Okay, before that one, we will see what are the other folders, what are the content of other 2 folders. So if you're going to go to the VPC files, actually for this workshop, running VPC is not mandatory, but we have included the VPC files as well, because if you are going to refer our last workshop, you will see where the VPCs are important. But for this workshop, VPCs are not important because we are not going to connect to them. But because this is connecting with the last workshop, we have keep them as well. Okay. So then what next one is the lab files. This is the other most important file. So remember, don't delete anything from this folder. If you delete any file mistakenly, the network will not going to work. Okay, so you have to be very careful with this one. If something happened to this folder, you better extract it again. Okay, so now you have the when you download this one, you have this zip file folder. No? So zip folder contain the original file. So if you if you have done any misconfiguration for this lab files, okay, not because Dynagen already installed, WinPcap already installed, but when you are going to work with this lab files, okay, accidentally if you delete any file from this one, always better to extract that folder and get a copy of the lab files again by removing this one, because if you missed any document, any file from here, your network will not going to work. Okay, so please remember that part. Okay, so this is the total network configuration. Okay, so that is why I'm asking again and again, don't delete anything from here, then don't going to modify anything here. Okay, so here the most important or the most interesting file is this. You can see there's a file called campus nw. Okay, so this is actually the network file. Okay, so so this is runs as a hypervisor. So if I show you this one, actually this is a text file. We can open this one in the notepad. Okay, so the entire network configuration, which is this one. Okay, those who are were in the last workshop, you are familiar with this network. So the entire network connectivity is done in here. So if you erase any line from this one, remember the network will not going to work. Okay, you can refer this one, no problem. You can open this in the notepad and go through this one, but don't touch it. Okay, don't do any changes. If you do it, because remember all these now as example, now you can see FA10 and FA1, every interface, okay, is connected, already connected. So if you change anything, the network connection will be dropped. Okay, those who are not from the last workshop, you may get confused, what is this? Okay, so this is a method that now if you are familiar with what do you call GNS3. Okay, I believe most of you have familiar with the GNS3. Before the GNS3, before the graphical interface comes into the play, this is how the back end of the GNS3 works. Okay, so we are using this one because it's not going to use a lot of resources from your computer, because we have instructed you to get at least 8 GB. No, so we are trying to run the entire network in a 8 GB computer. So that is why we are, without using GNS3, which uses more resources, we are going to go with kind of old technology. But even though it's old, this is okay for our network setup, because it uses minimum system requirements. So if you go through this one, I believe after reading 2 or 3 times, you will get the idea. So always remember, if you want to understand this text file or this notepad, you have to always go with the diagram as well. You can keep the diagram like this and the notepad side by side and try to understand how this has been configured. Okay, so now all the UDP tunnels, I know, so from some people this may be becoming somewhat confusing. So all the UDP tunnels that we are using is connecting to our computers. I told you VPCs. Okay, so VPC is another software that runs virtual computers. Okay, if you are familiar with GNS3, you know that VPCs are there. Okay, so the same VPCs, but not graphically, we can't see anything here, but all these PCs, PC1, PC2, PC3, and all the computers we have connected using this UDP tunnels. Okay, even though we are not using those VPCs for this workshop, uh, the this configuration file include all those things. So if you run the VPCs, all the VPCs will automatically connect to this network. Okay, here so you can read this one. Some lines are commented, so don't uncomment them. Okay, because they have comment them due to a reason. Okay, so it's better not to uncomment anything. Just go through the file and try to understand how this network connectivity has been done. Okay, and please remember, this is very important because the routers we are using here, we are using 3725 images for the routers. Again, those who know the GNS3, you know that we need some iOS files to work with GNS3. So this is why we need to extract these to the SAID location, CWK files, because now you can see we have set the path here, image path. So if you extract this folder to any other place, what happened? This path will not available. So the network loading will not be happen and it will give you an error. Okay. So this image should be in this path. By reading this one, if you can understand, this is what happened here. Okay, you are free to use whatever drive you like, because this is where the problem occurs. Okay, because we have already set the path to C drive. Okay, so when you copy this file to the C drive, you can see the path is quite right. Okay, now C WK files, then lab files. Okay, then you can see the image. We have given the image in that location. That is why we are asking you to extract it to the C drive, because the path is set here in the notepad. So if you extract it to somewhere else, if you can understand what is happening here, no worries. You can change the path and it will work. But it's it's up to you whether you are going to get that risk or not. It's up to you. You can try that one also, no problem. Okay. So this is the main reason why we are asking you to extract this to C, so we all are in the common ground. Okay, so that is the idea of this file. Okay, so you can edit that file, but but I'm instructing you, don't do this at the moment because it will create unnecessary problems. Okay, if anything goes wrong, please remember you can extract again and replace the folder. That is the best thing you can do. Okay. Okay, I hope up to this is clear for you. Okay, so after you extract this file, maybe this now you can see this is the icon. This icon seems like a, the executable file. Sometimes once you extract this one, the icon is may not be like this. Maybe when you double click on the file, it will ask for a software to open this one. Okay, so so once you install this Dynagen software, as I explained earlier, okay, so normally once you run this Dynagen, it will install it into C drive. Okay, so if you go to the C drive and program files, you can see Dynamics folder. Inside this, the installation has completed. So now here you can see there is a file called Dynagen. So this is the software that you use to open that net file. Normally by default it will be recognized by the system, but if the system does not recognize this file as a net file, okay, what you have to do is that open with, okay, in case if your system does not recognize this as a Dynagen file or a net file, if the icon is something that unrecognized, what you have to do is right click on this one and you can go with the open with, not the notepad. You can go for a choose another app. Okay, in case this file is not recognized by the UOS, if already the icon has been changed to something like this, no worries, you can double click, but don't double click yet. Okay, so you can go to the more apps. Okay, and you can go to the browse, and you can go to C drive, program files, not program files, this one. Okay, and from that Dynamics, and you can select Dynagen. Okay, this is something extra if your system does not recognize that file as a net file. Okay, but most probably it will be detected by your OS, and it will be shows as a Dynagen file. In case it is not recognized, this is what you have to do. Okay, but you have to do it only if that happens. Okay, okay, so that's the story of that folder. Okay, now we'll see how to run this one. Okay, assuming that everything is in order, then what you have to do is to run this network, you have to run this dynamic server. Even though you have 4 shortcuts, the most important shortcut is this. Okay, you can run this dynamic server. Okay, you can double click on this one. I have already done it, so I'm going to close the both, so to show you how it works. Okay, go to exit from the Dynagen. Okay, and from the okay, so now assume that everything is in place. Okay, so now what you have to do is, now you have to run the dynamic server. So when you run the dynamic server, it will, this is what happens. This is the only screen that you will see. Okay, so it will load it and it stays like this. If it is comes to this level, no problem, your Dynamics is working. Sometimes there may be a warning from your firewall. You have to allow that one. Okay, just tick on that one and allow. Okay, because this need to be run. Okay, so you can run this one and you can keep it aside. Then you can go to the lab files, and you can go to the file that I have already told you, the network campus network file. If the icon is not recognized, please follow my instruction, right click, open with, and go to the Dynamics folder and select Dynagen. Okay, but if it is already recognized by your system, and if it seems like this one, no worries, just double click. So now Dynamics server is running. Try to understand what happens here. So the server is now running on the backend. Now on top of that, you have to run the campus network. So without running the dynamic server, don't double click on the campus network. It will not going to work. Okay, because this campus network is running with the help of the Dynamics server. So first thing is running the Dynamics server. After a Dynamics server is correctly loaded, then go to the lab files and find the campus network file. Again, I am reminding you, if the file is not recognized by as a net file, right click, open with, and go to the Dynamics folder and select the Dynagen. Okay, most probably this may be already identified by your system. Then no worries, now Dynamics is running on the background. Double click on this one. Okay, now it's going to read the this configuration file. Okay, and you can see some things are going to change the dynamic server as well. Okay, okay, so it will read and it will load this configuration into the dynamic server. So there may be some glitch. Okay, sometimes I'm telling you, sometimes there's some glitches are there, but don't worry if this is not loading. Now you can see if it's loaded, you will see a prompt here, but now I can see it takes more time. So it's taking more times mean, you know, I have already closed this one and open. So best thing is if you experience an abnormal delay, something like this. Okay, normally within 30 seconds, within 1 minute of time, this Dynagen should be loaded the network, but now I can see it's still reading. So if you experience this one, the best thing is close the both again. Okay, so this can happen. Okay, this is not always happening, but you know that I have already opened and I closed that one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to close it again. Okay. And I'm going to try it again. First, again, I'm going to run the dynamic server. Then lab files. And I'm going to run the campus network file. Okay, now, okay, I told you. Okay, sometimes it may have some kind of a delay, but eventually it will come to this level. So if it come to this level means now your network configurations are loaded. So don't worry if it's not happening in the first time. Close it and open it again, both consoles. Okay, now if you come to this level mean your network configurations are correctly loaded. Okay, so you can use question mark here and you can see what are the commands that are available in this Dynagen file. Okay, now as I told you, if you go through our explanations on our last workshop, you will get more information about how this works. So here now this network is actually now loaded. Okay, all the routers, not the pfSense. pfSense is a virtual computer, but other than these PCs, virtual PCs we didn't run, but the routers now actually they are in place. They have already loaded into the memory. Okay, so we can test that one. There's a command called here list. You can use the list command and it will list what are the network devices are now currently running. Only the network devices, not the servers or PCs. Now you can see FAC1, FAC2, the layer 3. There are three layer 3 routers, switches. Actually, they are routers. We are using switch modules with them. Now you can see FAC1, FAC2, and FAC1 building one. So those are manageable devices. So here, if you compare this one with the diagram, now FAC1, FAC2, and FAC1 BLD1 FL2, all these routers are now running. And the other switches are Ethernet switches. Okay, they are not manageable. They are also loaded into the network. Okay, all these switches are now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Ethernet switches are there. So all those switches are also loaded here. Okay, it means now the backbone or the connectivity of this network is already established. Okay, so if you want to connect to a router CLI, okay, but for this workshop it is not mandatory. But in case if you feel like, okay, I want to connect to this FAC1 and I want to view the configuration. Okay, so what you can do is, that is why you need the PuTTY. If your computer already installed with PuTTY, what you can use is you can go to the PuTTY and the IP address. Now all these routers are running on the host, the local host. So you have IP address you have to use is 127.0.0.1. Okay, and the port, the console port that FAC1 is running is port 2000. So in that case, select other, not the SSH. Okay, we have to go with the telnet other and change the port number into the 2000. Okay, so now using this PuTTY software, you can connect to the console of the FAC1. Okay, let's see. Okay, so after the loaded, you can enter and see it is connecting with the FAC1. Okay, so password is given. Password is 123. Those informations are given on the. If you want to connect this one only, we have given the information. So 123. Okay, so after you enter the 123 and you are inside that one. Again, the password is 123. Enable password also 123. So now you are inside the router. So don't do any changes, because the changes we have already done here. But for the only for the demonstration purpose, I have, even we haven't mentioned the password as well, because if you do any changes, it will affect our workshop configuration. But remember, the password is 123. It is not listed on the website due to, if you do any misconfiguration, it will give some side effects, and a lot of troubleshooting may be involved. But if you want to just look at the configuration, remember the enable password and all the passwords are be set as 123, but not listed in the website. Okay, so you just can show run. Okay, if you want, you can run the configuration. Those who have participated for our last workshop, they have done this configuration. Okay, um, so now you can see, I believe most of you are familiar with Cisco IOS and you know the commands. Okay, so you can see that we have set the IP addresses and everything according to the last workshop. As I remember, not most of the people done this lab live, because we witnessed that one. Only few people work with us. So I think now it is not a problem. You don't want to take that much of time. Just download and follow my instructions. The lab is working. But those who participate for our last workshop, you may remember how we configure this one. Okay, and show when you can view the VLAN configurations. Okay. Okay. So you do that one and make sure that everything is connected. Okay. So that is how you configure the network side. Now, if I explain, so this diagram not include only the routers, switches, no, they include the, because we need the servers. That is where our main focus is. Okay, now connectivity is okay. FAC1 is working, all the routers are okay in place, but we need the end user device, servers. So servers are running on VirtualBox. Okay, now you have to think, you have to understand, this is actually a combination of several softwares. So if you misconfigure one software, entire thing will not going to work. Now, if you successful up to this, be happy. Okay, it means 50% of the configuration is okay. Okay, then if you can successfully connect to the FAC1, or if if you, when you press when you execute this list command, if you see all these devices up to this, okay, it's good to go. Okay, then the virtual machines. Okay, so you have to download all the virtual machines and you have to import them into the VirtualBox. The import, how to import, we have already include in the website. So you can file and you can go to the import appliance. Okay, first of all, you have to download all the download links we have given. Okay, so here you can refer these lab mirrors. When you click on the lab mirror, it will take you to the file, and you have to download them. Okay, keep it download, and now as example, in my computer I have already downloaded them, so I am keeping them in a separate folder. So you can see here LibreNMS means the oxidize. Okay, so sometimes you may mislead with the name. You may think that where is the oxidize, because oxidize is run on the LibreNMS. We have named it as LibreNMS, so don't get confused. So LibreNMS means the oxidize, where you are going to implement oxidize. Okay, so already oxidize is not installed. You have to do the installation. And even though this name also is SmokePing is not installed, but our plan is to install SmokePing on that server. That is why we have named them. So it's very easy for you to track them. That is why if we have a common name, then you will get confused. What is this and what is this? Okay, so that is the main reason that we have named them according to our final result. Okay, so when you download them, SmokePing is not there, Oxidize is not there. Okay, even request tracker, even netbox, those softwares are not installed. Okay, this is just a fresh copy of Ubuntu. Okay, but we have, for your easiness, we have uploaded several copies, because otherwise you may get confused. That is the main reason. But actually one image is sufficient. But in case if you confused, or it may be add more burden to your brain, that is why we rename the same copy and we uploaded them. But yeah, even we have changed the IP addresses. That is the main thing. Okay, so if you uploaded one copy, we can have one IP address now. So then sometimes if you are going to set the IP address, you know that there's a YML code. Sometimes you will get a problem with the setting up the IP address. That is the main reason we uploaded several copies. So LibreNMS already installed with the LibreNMS software. So remember, for the oxidized lab, it's a mandatory. You have to use the same. You have to use the that image. Okay. So if you go to that oxidize link or the oxidize session, again we have given the path. Okay, if you the same path is given in the, if I show you now, when you go to the oxidize lab, again it will present you a link, the same link. So if you download it from here, that's enough. Or after you go to the oxidize lab, also the same image is there. No 2D images, but the same image is there. So you can download it from either place, whether you can go with this lab setup link or oxidize lab link, because without that link in the oxidize instruction, it is it's not complete. That is why we have now here also you can see monitoring server. Okay, so the same link. So if you download it from there, you don't need to download it again from here. But to become it now, if one person is only going to view this page, that is why we have put it here again. Okay, because if you have already done that lab setup part, you don't need to download this again from here. But in the future, if someone directly come to this page, so without any issue, he can download from here. That is why we put that link again. But remember, the same link is given even for this WK files. Okay, WK files also same thing. Okay, here pfSense also we have given the same thing. Okay, again you may think that why we have duplicate the same instruction again and again. The reason is, in future if you come to this one directly, you will miss that part. Okay, that is why we have given those instruction here. But remember, in the oxidized lab also, Mr. Dushmantha will explain you, if you have already configured the lab setup with me today, these three or the first two requirements are not needed actually. Okay, he will guide you through that one. But in case a person will access only this page directly, he has to go with the 1 and 2. Okay, so 1 and 2 is not necessary if you do this part with me today. Okay, if you configure this one, when you go to the oxidized lab, the first 1 and 2 is not necessary, and Mr. Dushmantha will guide you through that one. So remember that one. Okay, so so after you download the images, as I explained to you, you will see these things. These things are mandatory for this workshop to become successful. LibreNMS, pfSense, SmokePing, and web server and WinXP inside. So you have to download these 5 VMs. Okay, actually 6 VMs are there. There's a netbox one as well, but currently I don't have the netbox one. But when you download, you have to download I think 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are there actually for the oxidize as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 7 are there with the persona. So persona will be started tomorrow evening by Mr. Lalanta. So it's better if you can download them beforehand. So today night maybe. So you are ready directly go with that one. Okay, so please download them, and in each and every session the instructor will guide you what are the servers that you need to switch on. Okay, even though now you may think that okay, 7 VMs, how we can run 7 VMs inside this one. Okay, so for depending on the session that we are going to cover, the virtual machine that you need to switch on is different. You don't want to switch on all the VMs for all the sessions. Remember, okay, the instructor will instruct you what are the servers that you want to switch on. As example, when you are doing request tracker, you don't need to switch on everything. As example, when you're doing persona, all the 7 virtual machine is not needed. Okay, so if you are going to switch on all the virtual PCs, what happen? You will go beyond the 8 GB. So we can't do that. Okay, so even though 7 VMs are there, it depending on the workshop, the instructor will instruct you which servers you have to keep running. So please remember that one. So you have to wait until the instructor's instruction to switch on the servers. Don't switch on all the PCs servers at once before the 9 p.m. Don't 9 a.m. Don't do that one. So you wait until instructor instruct you. Okay. So you can select the servers according to your instructor and switch on only them. Okay, because sometimes you may before the 9 a.m. You will switch on all these things and you will wait. So don't do that. Then your computer will going to stuck, and maybe you will not going to able to participate even for this one. So always better wait until instructor instruct you to switch on the PC's servers. What are the servers? But you have to import them. All the 7 VMs should be imported here. Okay. Now, as example, when you import file, after you download them, import appliance, and you can select the file. Okay. So wherever you have downloaded that, you can go there. Okay. And you can select whatever the download file and open, and I think that is not a big deal. You can import them. So after import, you will see 7 VMs. Okay. So although as I am telling you, all now tomorrow my session is SmokePing. I don't need all the 7 VMs. Okay, but it's better you can download them, import and keep them. Okay, for tomorrow we need only maybe SmokePing, Windows XP inside, pfSense. I will let you know. Okay, only 3 or 4 we have to switch on. Other PCs we can keep silent without any issue. So when Mr. Lalant started his workshop, he will ask you what are the servers that he need to switch on. And when Mr. Dushmant started his one, he will instruct you from the 7 VMs, what are the things that you have to switch on. Likewise, you have to wait until your instructor instruct you to which devices you have to switch on. So currently I am having 3 only. Okay. So I'm also going to import the others as well. Okay. But make sure that you have installed, you have download all these mirrors and keep it with the VirtualBox. Okay. Again, I'm repeating the same thing. Please, extension pack you have to download and install. Add to the VirtualBox. Otherwise, they will not going to work. Okay. So actually that's all. That's all means that is what you have to do. Okay. Okay. Okay, so if you have any question, you better publish them in everyone. Okay, because sometimes I saw some questions have been asked, but if you can put the questions on the everyone page, that's better, because if there are similar question, everyone get the reply. So if you personally ask the question, so if I send you the personally, maybe the same question may be there for another person, then so others also can get the answer from the same answer. Okay. So okay. So I hope this is clear to you. And if I explain about this VirtualBox part as well, now after you open this VirtualBox, you have to make sure that this UDP channels, we have already configured them, no worries actually. But remember, for some workshops, okay, maybe depending on the network speed, okay, we always recommend you to use the wired network. Okay, so if you have a wired network, it's better because these installations requires internet connection. Okay, so sometimes this is optional. Okay, sometimes I believe that you have a kind of experience in VirtualBox or VMware. If you don't have experience, then it's a bit strange actually, because if you are working in network, I believe you have a kind of a idea how this VirtualBox works. Okay, this is just for this is optional idea. If you feels like your network connection is slow, and when you run this network lab, if your internet connection is very slow, and because sometimes now as example, for all these labs, there are files that you have to download from the internet. Okay, now as example, when you install this SmokePing, you have to run apt update and those kind of commands, and you run and you have to download the software. Okay, so in that case, if you feels like your network is very slow and you can't download them, I believe you know what is bridge network. Okay, so in that case, as example, if I show you here settings, okay, uh, normally what we have done is we have configured your network according to the network setup of this lab. So we are using UDP tunnel. Now you can see we are using UDP tunnel. Don't change this one. But if you feels like your network connection is very slow and you want to directly connect the device into the network without any issues, you can select here. You can go with the bridge adapter. You can go to bridge adapter and you can bridge this virtual or the server's network card to your real network directly, and you can okay, and you can start up with the work. Okay, but this is not recommended, but again, this is depending on the instructor will instruct you according to that only you have to proceed. Okay, because last time also one or two people has complained, so that is what we have asked. But they were using wireless connection, so they also there were some problem. That is why we are always asking you to use as much as wired connection for this one, because sometimes this VirtualBox is not compatible with sometimes in the depending on your network card wireless connections. Okay, so okay, now after you import the virtual PCs, you can run one or two. Don't run all the 7 as I told you. But to check whether our network currently working or correctly working, what you can do is, for this session, if you have import at least, let's say, web server, smoke ping, and pfSense. Okay, then you can see a lot of things are here. But for this session, to check whether network connectivity is correctly working, you have to run the pfSense. Definitely you have to run the pfSense. I will explain the reason why. Because if you look at this diagram, you can see this, you have to connect to the internet through the pfSense firewall. So if you are not running the pfSense firewall, what happens? These servers can't go to the internet. They will not going to connect to the internet. So pfSense need to be run always. If you are going to download something to this network, definitely you have to run that one. Okay, so pfSense, okay, need to be run. pfSense need to be run. And LibreNMS means the oxidized computer, wherever you are going to do that part. Okay, so for the moment, what you have to do is, now if you have already loaded the network like this, Dynamics and the Dynagen 5, and if it is working correctly and you are running the VirtualBox and run the WinXP inside. Okay, you can run the WinXP inside, and all setup is already done, so you don't want to change anything in the WinXP. Okay, so I have already run the WinXP here. Now you can see WinXP is running. So now according to diagram, you can see WinXP is here. It is a member of VLAN 30. Now try to understand the image. Okay, this diagram. Now pfSense is here, and PAC1 is here, and Windows XP inside is here. Now if the network is correctly working, what should I able to do is, now from this Windows XP computer, I should be able to go to the FAC1. From the FAC1, I should be able to go to the pfSense. From the pfSense, I should be able to go to the internet. Even though here we have marked it as a LAN router, in your, because you are doing this most of the time at your home, this can be taken as your home router. Okay, that is how we have configured the diagram. So now as example, if this network is correctly working, I should be able to ping from this Windows XP to FAC1, or even to the pfSense and to the LibreNMS and to the web server. So all these devices need to be ping each other, because as I told you, all the configurations are now done. Okay, so if you loaded the devices as I already instructed you, if you come to this level means Dynamics server need to be run, Dynagen file need to be run, and from the VirtualBox, at least Windows XP and pfSense need to be run. Okay, so if you have downloaded these devices, please run Windows XP and pfSense 2.6. Okay, all the others are not needed, because if you loaded them, the memory problem will be there. To check whether our network is setup is correctly working, pfSense is needed and Windows XP is needed. Okay, so when you run them, now you can see I have run Windows XP here, Windows XP inside, and I have run pfSense. Okay, so once you run the pfSense, you will see this information. The WAN interface of the pfSense need to be get IP address from your home router. If you are working with the home router, you will see some 192.168 IP here, because now we are doing this from the Peradeniya LAN premises. So we are getting I am getting IP address from our DHCP server here. So this IP address will change depending on the location. Okay. The WAN IP of the pfSense will be get IP address from your local router. But all the two other IPs need to be static IPs. We have already said those things. So you don't want to worry about these two. But the WAN IP will be different than this. Okay. So if you come to this level, what you can do is, here you can see, you can ping and check whether you can connect to the internet or not. So you can see number 7 is there. So you can press 7 and enter, and it asks for IP address to ping. So you just check whether you can go to the Google DNS. Now you can see the firewall is connecting to the Google DNS. So if you get that output, it means most probably your pfSense firewall is connecting with the internet. Okay, so it need to be there. If your pfSense is not connecting to the internet, it means your entire network is not connected to the internet, because we need the internet connection for this lab. So these are troubleshooting steps. So load the network. I am again explain the instructions. Run the dynamic server. Run the dynamic server. Run the campus network file and check whether these devices are running. Then come to the VMware. Okay, so not the VMware VirtualBox, and import at least Windows XP inside then pfSense 2.6. Let them run. After they are running, check the pfSense firewall is booting correctly. If it is booting up correctly, check the WAN interface IP address. It should get a DHCP IP address from your local router. Okay. If you have any firewalls in between your router and your host computer, you have to make sure that it getting an IP address from the your local router. Okay, so that is something that you have to troubleshoot. Okay, make sure your host, your computer has a connection to the internet. Okay, so then it will get a IP address from your local router. Okay, so then I ask you to ping and check to the Google DNS, then you will get some replies. So if it is working, it means according to our diagram here, your pfSense firewall is connecting to the internet through your local router. Now we have to check whether your Windows XP computer can reach to the pfSense firewall. Okay, so to do that, I have given some instructions here. Okay, so from the inside XP, you can directly ping and check the Google if you want, but this is the pfSense firewall IP. From the Windows XP, you can check whether you can connect to the firewall. So firewall IP address is this one, 10.1.0.2. Now you can see I can go to the firewall, ping into the firewall. Even if you want, you can get the web interface of the firewall by 10.1.0.2. Okay, so it will give you the pfSense web interface as well. So this shows that Windows XP computer is connecting with the firewall. So you're connected to the firewall is also okay. Okay, so then you can check whether your XP computer can communicate with the internet 8.8.8.8. So you can see even the Windows XP computer also connected with the internet. Always think with the diagram. Go with the diagram. Okay, because without this diagram, maybe you will confuse in the first time. Okay, So now Windows XP computer also can go to the internet. And because I am running here, you can see I'm running the web server as well. So web server IP address is given here. Web server IP address is 172.31.20. So if you want, you can check the connectivity. Now web server is here. Web server is here. Now you can see web server is connecting to the firewall, pfSense. Okay, here, this is the web server. So now I'm trying to ping from this Windows XP inside to web server, we are the DMC. I'm going to run ping to the DMC. Let's see. Ping 172.31.20. You can see I'm getting the replies. Okay, that assures that my network configuration is working. Actually, the network is working. So smoke ping also I'm running here. Now smoke ping also running, you can see running. So smoke ping IP address is 5.12, 10.5.12. Okay, let's see whether I can reach that one. So you also need to do the same testing. Otherwise, tomorrow session will not going to be success. Ping 10.1.5.12. Let me check again IP address. Smoke ping IP 10.1.5.12 smoke ping server. Okay, maybe IP is still I have not set the IP. Don't worry, for you already everything is done. Okay, so no worries. Okay, so you can test like this. At least your pfSense is working and your XP can ping to the internet. All the other things will work without any issue. I know because we have tested this one. So that is what you have to do. Okay, so if you follow these steps, it will work according to the instruction we have given. Okay, there may be some issues depending on your OSs, depending on the services that you are running, because all these sometimes the port numbers also can be conflict, UDP port channel maybe, but rarely that happens. So now you can see, now I am successfully running this one without any issue. So when you are running, there may be some issues, but we have to troubleshoot them as well. But I don't think, because in the last workshop also we have done it without any issue. So, but depending on your computer's configurations, maybe viruses, maybe other conflicting softwares, things can happen. Okay, I don't say that everything will work smoothly. Okay, because the setup wise, configuration wise, sometimes your computers have different softwares may be running that are conflict with these port numbers, can happen, but we'll try to minimize the issues. Okay, but with the experience that we had with the last workshop, there were not any issues. All those things were worked as we expected. So this time also, I believe it should work. If you have any problems in your computers, that is totally due to some of the configuration issues of your PC, but we will try to resolve them as well. Okay, as much as possible. So okay, so I hope everyone are following my instructions, and we have some time, and try to do this one, and If you are experiencing difficulties, we will try to troubleshoot them with the help of our instructors as well. Okay, let's see. So yeah, you better to use DHCP IP. You can static IP, but if you are adding a static IP, make sure that IP address can go to the internet. That's all. Okay, that WAN interface should be access to the internet. Yeah, you can expect. You can go to the previous workshop without any issue. Videos are there. The links already given in the agenda page. No, not the in my lab setup. Yeah, tomorrow, today videos will be uploaded as soon as possible. Okay. Okay. Please repeat the party part. Okay, I will do it again. Okay, I'm waiting for other questions as well, so I can, I can go through them at once. Okay. So I will explain the same part again and again. No problem. I will go through the steps again. Okay. So I will let some time to do this one. Let you do this one because we have 45 minutes remaining. Okay. You don't want to download all the VM now, but at least download Windows XP one. Okay, because at least having the Windows XP one with us, we can try to go to the one route at least. Okay, but if you have the pfSense also downloaded, that's better. At least Windows XP and pfSense is enough to check the connectivity. But if you don't have pfSense download, at least download Windows XP. That's also enough for the moment. That is a minimum requirement to check the network connectivity. If you have the pfSense, that's good. We're good to go. But Windows XP also enough, minimum requirement wise. Okay. So while doing this one, you can send the questions that you need to ask. So depending on the question, I will repeat the instruction again wherever necessary. Now, Aslam has asked, repeat the party connectivity part. I will do it. No problem, I will do it. But I'm waiting for the question from the other people as well. You will not get any questions if you are not trying this one. Okay. So don't waste the remaining 45 minutes. Okay. Okay. No. Morning session doesn't have any connectivity between this one because actually we have done that part because there may be some people who are new to Ubuntu or the Linux. They may be sometimes most people are used to use Windows. So because now in this workshop we are going to execute some Linux command to give you a kind of idea how Linux works. Only we have done that session. So those who are okay with Linux, actually no need to worry about that part. And that morning session is not have a direct relationship between the next sessions, but those who are new to Linux, it's like a welcoming session for the Linux. Okay. Actually, last workshop, everything is here. I will show you again because you asking it again and again. Now, if you go to this lab setup, you can see there is a link for the last lab setup. If you go there, if you go to the Odi, you can hear you can select the start page. From the start page, you can find the last workshop agenda, and you can download the videos. Okay. Because everyone accessing this one, website becomes somewhat slow. Yes. This screenshot doesn't have anything. Yeah, this is something about VirtualBox error. So you better check the version of your VirtualBox. Okay. So now currently I'm running the VirtualBox 6.1. If you can see version 6.134. Okay. Revision 34.1. Okay. With that one, the extension pack is working. That is I'm telling you, it's depending on your host configuration. Sometimes some issues may be there. So if you download, you better download a fresh copy, and from that one try it. If you have an older version, maybe the yeah, most probably the reason is the version is not matching. Whatever the extension pack you download is not compatible with this one. So those things actually you have to resolve. You can go to the website with your, you know, try that one, installing again, and try to find the correct extension pack for your edition. Then it will work. So always better to go with the newest one. I believe Chintaka has got the last workshop videos. No, you can find the link. Because if you go to this CNBP 2022 agenda, that is where you will see the videos. Okay. So I'm waiting. Okay, so because remember again and again I'm telling you, this is the most important part. Unable to start VM. Error. I think there is a problem with your path. Okay, make sure that you have installed according to the instruction C drive. Okay, if you extract this into somewhere else, as I told you again and again, if this path is going to change, you will not be able to, because now as example in this error, not in that one, now you are saying that unable to start VM ghost this one. Okay. So according to this, if you go to the configuration, this is where we have put the image. Okay. So if you have extracted this file to different place, this path will going to be differ. If the path is different, then there may be an issue of having this error. Okay. So if you have extracted this one, because it uses this image. Okay. Now you can see the file that you are referring. That file that VM ghost the image. Now you can see that is that will be created on this folder. This is the image. So this is the image. This is the ghost file that created. Now it says this file is not there. Okay. Stamila, you don't need to change anything. Okay, IP address also we have already set. Okay. So you don't need to change anything in the servers as well. Okay. Only if your instructor asks you to change the IP addresses, only you have to do. Otherwise, you don't need to do any changes because we thought of that one. Because if you do any mistakes, it will affect to the entire workshop. So IPs are same. If you participate for the last workshop, the Windows XP, yeah, smoke server. If you switch on the smoke server, it will also there's not work ping command to smoke. We will check that one. Okay, we will check that one. According to that one, I will give you the instructions. Let me check that one. Okay. Xbox server IP address, you can check. It should be 5.12. If the IP address is 5.12, don't change that one. It's already done. Okay. You just keep it like that one. Okay. We will check why you can't ping. Okay. There may be a network problem or something. We can troubleshoot that part. Okay. Any other problems that you are facing? FAC 101. Error during the loading. Mhm. Yeah, that can be a problem with that your that UDP port already used by your computer or something. You can run this one by commenting the line, but the problem is if you comment in that one, that will result other problems. Okay. Uh, you will try to, not now, you will because you have done up to this level. I believe that you can, if you have run the Windows XP, that's enough for the moment, because this is the line that goes to the firewall. If you are not running the pfSense firewall currently, this can be a problem. This can be an issue, because the faculty one, FA01 is connecting to the firewall, I guess. Okay. If you look at the diagram, yeah, FA01 is connecting to the firewall. So if you are running, I don't know whether you are running the firewall or not. Sometimes this link is not established. That may be the issue. I can't uh, assure that one, but just let me know whether that the pfSense is running or not. Buddhika, because according to this diagram, you can see the FA01 is connecting to the firewall, and the error says FA01. Okay, so we have to troubleshoot now. So we have to start from somewhere. So let's try to do that one. Created UDP. Are you running the pfSense or not? Okay. I'm not saying that that is the main reason. Okay, maybe even though you are running the pfSense, this one can happen, but hopefully we will wait until the pfSense is working. Still, if you get the error, then we have to think, and we have to go with another way of troubleshooting. Okay, so for the moment, according to information, the pfSense is not working. I am assume that may be the cause, but let's see. You switch on the firewall and see if the error occurs again. We have to find another way of resolving the issue. Okay. Can I get any replies from those who are successful with this setup? Anyone who got the desired results? Okay. Good. That's good. Okay. Okay. Two people. Yeah, no, a lot of people are getting positive replies. That makes us very happy actually, because uh, it means it's working. Okay, if you follow the path, I believe it will work. We are hoping to see more yeses than the nos. Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you all for your replies. Actually, it makes us, very positive about this one. Because as I told you, the next sessions are depending on, most of the sessions are depending on this one. Uh, if you have at least switch on Windows XP, and if this dynamics are running, I mean, assume that you have come to this level. Now Gynogen is running without any issue, and dynamics also running, but you just switch on Windows XP, no firewall. So if the firewall is not there, you can't ping to the web server. You can't, you can see, if the firewall is not switched on, you can't test the connectivity for the web server. You can't check the to the internet. Both you can't do. Okay. But what we can do is, if your Windows XP is switched on, we can try to ping to the faculty one and check at least this connectivity. Okay. So faculty one means, now if you go to the Windows XP computer, now if you run the ipconfig command here, you can see the IP configuration of the Windows XP. So you can see the IP address is 10.1.30.10, and the gateway, default gateway for the Windows XP is this. So this is the FAC1 router. Okay, FAC1 router. So you can check whether this Windows XP is connecting with the Dynamics by picking to that one. Okay, so 10.1.30.254. So if you are getting this reply also, you can be happy that, okay, your Dynamics is working. Okay, the Windows XP is connecting with the Dynamics file. So that is the troubleshooting up to this level. So I believe you can understand, because if you are not switch on the pfSense, you can't ping to the web server. So Windows XP to FAC1 you can test. So up to this level means, 50% or the 70% of your, I mean, because you are not switch on the pfSense, the other part is not working. But you can satisfy yourself that you can be happy, okay, my configurations are, or whatever the instruction that I have given you is okay, because Windows XP can ping to this level. Okay. At least to that level, try to finish. Okay. And I'm happy that if you can do the pfSense part, and if you can ping to the outside, then no problem. Okay. We have another 25 minutes. Okay. I'm waiting for more yeses. Okay. If you can reply whether it is successful or not. Those who are successfully done this up to this level, up to FAC1, if you can ping, happy to see that one. Okay. Okay, good. Those who are successful, please comment with yes. So others, it's become a kind of encouragement to others, because yeah, a lot of yeses are there, so others also can get idea that if you follow the instruction, it will work. So don't worry, you just do according to the instructions, then it should successful. Because someone has asked about that, what do you call, about this party configuration. Okay, I will explain that. Okay. Before that one, I will exit my Dynamics. You can see, because to show you again the stepwise, I will quickly go through the steps again. Okay, now I'm going to shut down these Dynamics. Okay, so I'm going to exit from the Dynamics. So once you exit from the Dynagen, this is also going to shut down automatically server. You can close it. Okay, now we'll start with fresh copy. Fresh copy means I'm not going to shut down the VMs. VMs are running, because you can run them after or before running the Dynamics. So I will let these pfSense and everything run. Now, as example, now Windows, now pfs, now if you try to ping from Windows XP, you will see you will not get any replies, because now network is down. Now here, now, because I have closed the Dynamics here, because network backbone is not anymore, so you can't ping. Okay, even if you go to the pfSense, the IP address for the WAN interface will become a problem. So I'm not going to do that one. And you can see there are some network activities are running here. So because he's lost the WAN IP. No, not a worry. You can keep them running. While they are running also, you can run the Dynamics. So I'm not going to shut down the PCs. I will keep them running. Then again, I will go to this Dynamics server, run this one, and wait until it loaded. Then you can go to your C drive and WK files and lab files and campus network, this file. You can double click on that one. Okay. And as I told you, if you are playing with this one 2 or 3 times, sometimes this can happen. So okay, now again, you can see it's reading configuration and it takes some time. This can happen. No, this sometimes this will happen, maybe not. So if you experience this, best way to close it again. No worries, just close this one. Okay, and try again. Okay, now it's working. Okay, now it's loaded. To check whether the routers and switches are loading, you can type list, and it will show you all the devices that are listed. Okay, as soon as this works, if your Windows XP is running, you can go and try. Sometimes you will not get replies. The reason is now because this network is running on routing protocols are also there. You have to wait a few seconds to their network to be up, because now just switch on the devices. Okay, so as soon as possible, if you try to ping, it will not going to give you the replies. Okay, so because the routing protocols need to be converged, so you have to give some time. You can see now it's working. But this means now network is working, and even now again, you can see the IP addresses are there. So you can go with option 7, and you can ping to the internet. Okay, sorry, option 7. IP address 8.8.8.8. Yes, now it's working. Then you can go to the XP machine again. from that one you can ping working. Okay, because someone has asked about this PuTTY configuration. I will explain that also. Because PuTTY is needed to log into these devices actually. Now, as example, if you want to, because these are this the FAC1, FAC2, and FAC1 BLD1 is running Cisco iOS. If you need to view that one, if you want to change something, what you can do, you can get the PuTTY software in your computer. I told you to install that one. And because these devices are simulate inside your local computer, you can use 127.0.0.1. I believe you all know this is the localhost IP, and select the telnet other. Depending on your PuTTY version, now this is the latest version of the PuTTY, so you will see SSH serial other. But if you can't see this other button, maybe you will see SSH telnet. Telnet will be there. So whatever, it should be telnet. You have to telnet, not SSH, not serial. Whatever the option here, select telnet. So here, because in this version I have something called other, I select this other, and from here telnet. Port number. This is the this is the default port number for the telnet. But here we are using simulation. In the simulation, even though we are not going to telnet, the nature of this software is the console port we have to telnet. So now here the 2000 is the console port for FAC1. So here you have to telnet to that one, 2000, and open. And don't wait. If you wait, you can't see anything. Click on the interface and double tap your enter button. Okay, don't wait. You have to enter. You have to click on the window and enter 2 or 3 times. Then it will ask for the password. And password is 123. And enable password also 123. Then you are inside the router. But you don't need to do any changes if the need it. If you need to do any changes, I will let you know tomorrow, and I will help you to do the configuration. For the moment, if someone is connecting to this one, I need you to do one thing. Can you just, one of you, if you have successfully connected to FAC1, can you just execute this command and send me the reply, or the what is the screenshot? Can you with the reply show VLAN switch? Execute this command, show VLAN switch, and if you can send me the output of this command, it becomes somewhat helpful for me, because I need to check the configuration of your router for a moment. Okay, FAC1. If someone can do that one, password is 123, enable password 123. The command is show VLAN switch, and I need to get this output, screenshot of this output. Not mandatory, just to check. Okay, thank you for that one, because it becomes somewhat helpful, because I need to check the connectivity. Okay. So thank you, Premnath, for that one. It becomes somewhat helpful, because I need to check whether your network connectivity is okay. So I hope, yes, thank you. Okay, thank you again. Thank you, Prabhat. So this shows that your network connectivity, all the whatever the ports that are in the correct VLAN as well, because it assures that you all are using the same files that we have uploaded. Okay. So if you have any concerns, please forward and get them resolved. We have another 10 minutes of time. Tomorrow, I need all of your support to continue with this smoke ping setup. Okay. If your network is not working correctly, we will not be able to get the required results, because as we discussed in the beginning of this workshop, we are going to do some network measurement and performance metrics that we are going to view. So we have to have a network. So without this underlying network, collecting performance metrics or data will become a problem. Okay. Okay. Thank Ruan as well. So seems like my instructions are clear to you. Aslam, I have a doubt whether this is due to the old version. Okay, if you have the new version, if it is connected, no problem. Okay, okay. Anyhow, if you got it connected, that's what we need. Okay. You have tried, because the PuTTY version is not actually a problem. Okay, that is why I was in a two mind. Okay, so here version is not the problem. You have to select the telnet and the port number you have to input correctly. If you want to connect to FACT2, the port number should be 2001. Likewise. Okay. Okay, guys, any other concerns? Okay, Chintak also successfully connected. Others who have connected, please reply so we can end the session with a good note then, positively. Any other yeses? Thank you, Priyanka. This is because now, Premana, this is you have to enable virtualization from your BIOS. This is not a problem with the VirtualBox actually. when you are booting up your host computer, I'm talking about your host computer, not about the VirtualBox. Please go to the BIOS. Okay, in the BIOS, in your depending on your BIOS setup in your host computer, you have to go to the CPU properties, where you can find the virtualization. You have to enable virtualization from your BIOS, not the VirtualBox, but your host computer. If you are using Intel compute or whatever, if you are using laptop, please restart the laptop. Once you restart, go to the BIOS setup and go to wherever the CPU informations, and from there you can find Intel or whatever virtualization, maybe not, maybe definitely disable. Okay, you have to enable it. Enable and save the BIOS setup and switch on the PC and work with the VirtualBox. Then it will okay. This is who is this? Samir. Samir, I am thinking. I have a doubt that now you are using the old version. Okay, old version means not the putty. You have to download the new configuration. I believe you are from. You have participated for the last workshop. Your fact one is still from the last workshop, because if you are download the new WK files, uh, you can do two things. Either you can use the new download file, or you can log into this fact one and you can add FA1/14 to the server's VLAN. Now, as example, now you can see the other replies here. You can see, I think you can get idea. FA1/14 also need to be in the server's VLAN. That is what I want to make sure. Now I have got 3 screenshots. They all are having 1/14 as well. But in your reply, you can see you have only 1/15 only. This 1/14 also need to be come to the server's VLAN. You don't want to replace all the files, but what you can do is you can log into fact1 and go to FA/1/14 and switch port mode access, switch port access VLAN 5. You can just move the 1/14 to the server's VLAN. That's all. Okay, because it should be there. Port 14 also should be there in the servers. Otherwise, the smoke ping workshop will not going to work. It means the server will not going to connect. I hope my explanation is clear to Samir. Okay, thanks. Okay, so it's almost 3:57. So I believe the explanation that I have given is clear to you and you can do without any issue. So I hope everyone will do this one and tomorrow morning we can continue without any issue. So before winding up the session, so yeah, okay, Mr. Senavi, okay, so it seems like so Senavi is not available. Okay then, so we will meet tomorrow morning and we will continue with the smoke ping setup. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining for today's session, and we'll meet tomorrow morning.